Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the Conscious Wynne Concepts podcast. My name is Hassan, coming to you at 3:07 on a Wednesday afternoon. This is just a demo reel number 3, basically a content reel to let you all know what will be coming down the pike through the channel over the next couple of weeks. We've got several topics to discuss. Good news for everybody out there is that this is going to be a channel for everybody. There's going to be a little something for everybody that we're going to put out. We're going to be doing different topics each week. Some topics will, based on the traction that those topics receive from the audience, we will then be doing follow-ups on all of those topics with guests that have requested to be on the show. I've already did dry run interviews with several people who are willing to come on the show and willing to share their thoughts and opinions with us as it relates to the topics that we're going to discuss. So just to give you all an idea of what those topics are going to be, and you should start seeing some of this stuff come out over the next week, a few days to another week or so. But just to touch on each topic, show number 1 is going to be, this is by demand. We shared a list of topics with several people that we did interviews with to get an idea of what the interest level would be. And these are the topics that we came up with. And these were we ranked them in order of popularity based on the enthusiasm that we saw when we spoke to people about each topic that we were going to cover on the channel. Again, like I said, this is going to be a channel for everybody. We hope to attract a large group of a dedicated audience of like-minded people that want to participate in this endeavor that we're undertaking. It's we're in our infancy stage right now. Obviously, we haven't released anything live, but eventually we're going to be distributed to several platforms. We were going to be on YouTube, of course. We're going to be on Spotify. We're going to be on Apple Music. We're going to be on Amazon. So we're going to have an audio and audio video, and then we'll just have audio for the podcast only platforms like Spotify. Or Apple Music or Amazon Music. So you'll be able to consume the content no matter what platform you use. We're going to primarily be on YouTube initially. And this is where we're going to be releasing most of our content, at least right out of the gate. Until this is going to be a learning process. We're learning as we do this. Fortunately, I have a technical background, so setting up my studio and everything it was tough, but not as tough as it could have been. Having some of that background knowledge was definitely useful and helpful I spent maybe 2 to 3 days really getting everything set up. It's a lot of little things, a lot of testing, a lot of, sound. Your sound doesn't come through right. Your video looks a little bit off, things like that. We're still kind of in a temporary mode in terms of the studio. There's a few things that will be replaced. Some of the lighting will be improved. Our camera will be improved. Right now we are using a camera that's probably not going to be our production camera, but it's good enough to record the demo content that we want to record, like this, just to kind of get the word out as far as what we will be doing here on the channel. With that being said, let's cover the topics that we will be covering later this week and going into next week. Number 1 topic on the docket is relationship dynamics in the social media era. Entitlement. That's a key word that we're hearing pretty much from everybody. I mean, I know it's a word that it gets applied to women mostly. However, in talking to a lot of these women, I have noticed that they're applying that same title to men. So again, it's a 50-50 equation. We're not here to blame any specific gender for what we have, which I think what we have is a big mess. I think that we have a hugely distrustful society when it comes to person-to-person relationships, person-to-person contact, just simple things like, basic, just common courtesy. I think it's something that's gone by the wayside over the last, I think the pandemic had a lot to do with that, quite frankly. People are unfortunately not as personable, approachable. Everybody's a bit on edge. And I think everybody's kind of sharing that same. It's kind of a shared anxiety that everybody's sharing when it comes to just human to human contact, and that extends obviously into the dating market where. For any single people out there, I'm sure that you can share your stories with us, but all I hear is horror stories when I talk to people about dating. That is really all I hear. I might hear a person here, a person there who's having relative success, but most of the people that I talk to are saying the same exact things. And it's uncanny because it's amazing. It's almost verbatim in a lot of the cases, the people that I've spoken to. What they're saying is the problems with the dating market. I mentioned entitlement in the beginning. A lot of people, their entitlement levels have gone way, way, way up. Social media, which is what we're doing here, has a lot to do with that. It has a lot to do with the unrealistic expectations. I think that's the other thing that we need to talk about as a sub point of that topic is unrealistic expectations. I think people have inflated expectations of folks. We live in the instant gratification society, right? So everybody wants what they want when they want it, and that what they want when they want it is now. In a lot of cases, people aren't willing to, I feel like, put in the work. I mean, all you have to do is pull up TikTok and you can see an endless stream of young ladies who are basically saying, listen, if you can't do this, and this, don't even talk to me. So where does he start? What does he do? What he's doing is nothing, because what's happening is a lot of men are just simply going their own way. I'm sure that some of you will have heard the acronym MGTOW, or men going their own way. There's a lot of YouTubers that I follow that are in that space, specifically in that space. And I've learned quite a bit from a lot of those YouTubers. At the same time, I don't agree with a lot of what those YouTubers are saying. I think that in a lot of cases, it's not a one size fits all solution or a problem. I think there's different levels to it, but I think that in general, everyone's kind of sharing the same frustration when it comes to when it comes to modern dating. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. We'll be talking about, is dating just simply dead on arrival? Is it over? That's one thing we should talk about, because, like, again, if you speak to some of the people out here, it sounds like it's either dead or it's dying. People are just simply finding better things to do with their time rather than go through the aggravation of, trying to meet this person, trying to sync with this person. It's funny because with the bevy of options that people have these days, women have way more options than men. Don't get it confused. Women have way, way, way more options than men when it comes to dating. That's something that some women don't know. Surprisingly, they don't realize that the majority of people on dating apps are men. You're talking about probably 65 to 70% of the population on your most popular dating apps are mostly men. And a lot of those men have multiple profiles, with multiple sets of pictures and things like that, because they're trying to get the attention of these young ladies out here. And they're doing whatever they can. I've talked to guys who, I'm not willing to do this, but I've talked to guys who basically are faking the funk. They're going out here, they're taking pictures on friends' boats. They're taking pictures from friends' cars and things like that. These guys don't own these cars, but what they've come to the conclusion is that the only thing that these women care about is materialistic and what you have. And in order for you to get their attention, at least their initial attention, is you have to have something bright and shiny, right? A shiny object syndrome that we're going to be talking about that, because I hear, you'd be surprised. I hear people that are, and this is the gamut from, because right now there's a lady in her 30s or 40s who's saying, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. That's all these young girls that talk about that. No. There's women in their 40s right now that have shiny object syndrome. And we'll be explaining that and exploring that on that specific topic when we dive down the rabbit hole of relationship dynamics. What do we consider to be a good man? What do we consider to be a good woman? Used to be pretty simple when it came to answering that question. I remember there was a time, full disclosure, I was in a long-term relationship. I was married for a very long time. I've only been single for 3 years. I tried dating briefly, I guess you could call it that. I call it an experiment that I did. I downloaded the 3 most popular dating apps, and I did an experiment for about 3 months just to prove to myself, can it be that bad of what everybody's telling me? Can it really be that bad? It can't be that bad. And then after downloading a couple of those apps and being on there for maybe 2 weeks, it's that bad. It's really that bad. It's a minefield of nonsense, I would call it. And quite frankly, I just simply don't have time for that. So I just remove myself from the dating marketplace simply because it's not important to me. I don't have time really to date. That might sound a little bit arrogant or whatever. Oh, this guy doesn't have time. But in reality, between my day job, what I'm doing now, I also have a collectibles business that I run. I don't really have time. I just don't. So for me, it's simple. For me, I just simply don't participate. But I know it's not that simple for the lion's share of people out there because people want to meet somebody. I know there's a lot of my friends that have never been married before. They only had a couple of long-term relationships in their life. Some of them don't have any kids yet. I've had all of those things already. So it would be disingenuous of me to sit here and tell somebody, well, you shouldn't date, or you shouldn't be looking for the right one, or you shouldn't want to get married, or you shouldn't want to have kids. That would be disingenuous of me to do that because I have already experienced those things. So I don't want to be a paint with a broad brush and just say, don't date, don't get married, don't. And I think a lot of the manosphere channels and things, they tell you that. And I don't think you can really go that off course with it. I agree with the premise of you shouldn't be trying to date unless you have yourself together first, meaning you are squared away. You have none of us are perfect, right? But you are at least in a position where if you're going to come into a relationship with somebody, you're not bringing tons of baggage with you. Tons of whether that's emotional baggage or whatever that may be, because again, going back to what I said earlier in the session, a lot of these people they're quite frankly not ready to date. They get out of a relationship, they jump into something else. There's no honesty there because what happens is people are looking for a quick fix. I guess I'm old school in that way. If I meet a lady who I can kind of tell, if she doesn't want something a little bit more serious right now, she's going to want something at some point. And if in my situation, I'm not in a position to do that, I'll just go ahead and let the person know right then and there. I'm surprised at what I'm hearing for these guys who are in their 30s and 40s, and they're still playing some of the same games of stuff that I remember when I was in high school. And the females as well. The females, again, I could create an entire show or 2 or 3 shows just based on the stuff that I've been told that these women are out here doing. Now, I know that there's a lot of women out there. Who are these women? Who are you talking about? I don't know anybody like that. None of my friends are like that. That's always the case. They don't know anyone like that until they tell you about a whole bunch of people like that. I had a conversation the other day with a young lady who, at first she was a bit defensive. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Dating. I don't know what you mean. My friends go on dates. But then as we got deeper into the discussion, none of that stuff she was telling me was healthy. I mean, the stuff that these girls were doing, it was quite eye-opening to me, like that this is what you guys are out here doing. But this is what social media has enabled because it's access to excess. People have too many options. That's really it. So if you're in an ice cream parlor and there's 700 flavors, yeah, you really like that flavor and you really like that flavor and you really like that flavor, but man, that flavor over there looks really good too. So you have access to excess. You don't know which one to pick. And then so you might pick this one, taste it. Ah, man, I really want to taste that one over there. And I think that's what we're running into. And again, women have way more access than men do to the options. The numbers are just in your favor if you're female. They just are. I've done studies on this. I've gone through the data. It's a fact. There are a lot more, let's just be honest, a lot of these guys out here are thirsty, insanely thirsty. I've seen direct messages. I have female friends that show me the messages that guys send to them. At first I thought, this is a joke. These guys aren't really saying stuff. But then I look and I'm like, wow, they are saying these things. And they're doing this because they're trying to say anything to get that woman's attention. Literally. Like, how outlandish do I have to be to get her attention? Because what's happened is these men believe that I just got to go over the top. I've got to go way over the top in order to get this woman's attention, because she has so many other options in her DMs. I mean, this same girl I'm talking about showed me her DMs, and she had, I don't know. I stopped. I could just see him going all the way down the page. Put it that way. Meanwhile, your average guy has got like 3 people in his DMs, if he's lucky. He's sitting there every day looking like, I don't have anybody in my DMs. So it's a numbers game, and it favors the woman. So with that being said, we're going to be touching about that. We're going to touch on that. We're going to be talking about it. Are dating apps just a waste of time for the majority of us? I say yes, but we will debate that topic. We're going to be talking about, on show number 2, we're going to be talking about coping with life's disappointments. How do we process it? How do we deal with it? Things within our control, things outside of our control. Is the universe responsible for that? Is the universe responsible for the good fortune that we get? Do we control that? Do we have any bearing on that? What steps can we take to move forward from disappointment? What can we do? How do we get back on the horse? You get knocked down. How do you get back up? Show number 3, we're going to be talking about how badly do you want it? Meaning, how badly do you want to pursue your goals? What are your goals? Number 1, do you have any? If you don't have any goals, make some today. Sit down, pull out a piece of paper. I did this. I turned 45 years old in July. I sat down. I said, okay, I'm at my midlife point. Where do I want to be by the time that I'm 46? And that's kind of where the idea from this podcast really took off, because I felt like I had more to give than, to the world and to the community than what I was currently doing. So this was one of my goals that I wanted to achieve in 2022. So we're pretty much there. Long way to go, but we're pretty much there. Do you diet and exercise? How important is that? Extremely important, especially for the men out there, women too. Let's just be honest out here, ladies. In the United States of America, the average weight or the average dimensions of a female is 5'4", 164 pounds. You can look that up. That is in my data. It's those studies. You can find them in a lot of places. That's heavy. It's heavy. 5'4", 164, quite heavy. Because when we're not talking about men, we're talking about women. So that's one thing that I think that diet and exercise, having some sort of program, no matter what that may be, you must be on your grind with your fitness. This is your machine. You got to take care of your machine. So how do we do that? How do we make time for that? A lot of people don't have time or think they don't have time. We always have time. We always have time. Keep that in mind. Don't ever say, I don't have time to do this, or I don't have time to do that, because we do have time. I was talking to a young lady at my office who always would say, I don't have time. I just don't have time to go to the gym. I just don't have time to work out. I just don't have time to make it to the gym. However, every morning she stops at Starbucks and gets her coffee in Danish. That takes her 15 minutes. If she's in the drive-thru, it might take 20 or 30 minutes. She could have gotten a workout in from home, or in a home gym, or at the gym. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. Now you've got a whole hour. You can use that time to go to the gym, make your coffee at home, then go to work. So you can make time for what you really want to do. So we all need to stop making that excuse. I just don't have time. I've done that before too. I've convinced myself, I just don't have time. We have time. We just have to make time. So we'll be talking about that. Show number 4 is mainly going to be my sister covering that topic. It's going to be a topic on veganism and how it has helped her life. My sister, for many years, was dealing with a lot of health issues. She was on the typical medical treadmill, in and out of the hospital, back and forth to doctors, multiple surgeries, lots of things that she went through. Quite frankly, my sister is kind of lucky to be here based on the things that she's been through in her life as it relates to her health. So she went vegan about 3 years ago. It's turned her life around completely. And she's very, very, very passionate about how it has basically saved her life. And she would like to pass that knowledge on to the audience and show you the benefits of that lifestyle. I'm not vegan myself, but I have, since I've kind of started to study a little bit of what she studies, I have really changed my diet to be a more healthy diet than what it used to be. Some people tell me I got skinny, you got too skinny, this and that. But actually, if you look at my BMI and everything, I'm actually within the parameters that I'm supposed to be in right now. Right now, I'm about 185, 186 pounds. I used to be walking around 215, 216 pounds. So that's a lot of weight. So if you haven't seen me in a while, you say, oh man, he lost a lot of weight. But in reality, I go to the doctor. I'm actually within my BMI specifications right now. I was over that before. I had a little bit high blood pressure, things like that. So all that is related to diet. So we'll be talking about that on the show. Show number 5, we're going to be talking about, this is probably my favorite topic off the first list that we have here, but why don't you have a girlfriend? Why don't you have a boyfriend? 2 questions that if you're someone my age, or even if you're in your 30s and you're not married or you don't have a significant other there. Now, for me, this is an easy question. Most of my friends who know me, people who know me, why don't you have a girlfriend? They pretty much know. I was married a very long time. Divorced 3 years ago. Not going back down the girlfriend rabbit hole anytime soon. There's many reasons for that again. And we can talk about those when we do that show. But it's just a lot of it relates back to time, energy, effort. You have to be willing to put those 3 things into a relationship if you want it to grow. And right now, I just don't have the time, energy, or effort. So I don't have any of the 3 things that you need. So let's keep those 3 things in mind: time, energy, effort. Those are the 3 things you need to put into a relationship to make it work. If you cannot provide those 3 things, you should not be looking to get into a relationship. That's my opinion on that. A lot of people may disagree because a lot of people, quite frankly, I have a friend right now, a grown man. This guy can't be alone. He just can't. He goes from one relationship to another one. This girl broke his heart, goes to another one. Okay. I mean, hey, people do what they like to do. I don't disparage him. I can try to give him advice on to stop kind of running on the hamster wheel, doing the same thing, expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. So anyway, those are the first few shows that we're going to cover here on the podcast. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Pardon me, I'm looking down, just looking at my outline here and seeing if I missed anything for this specific reel that we're recording. I don't think so. I think I've kind of covered everything that I wanted to cover. Again, we're going to be, this is just the icebreaker. We've got a lot that's going to be coming out. We're probably going to be doing 2 shows a week is the pace that we want to be at initially. I will be conducting remote interviews. I'll be conducting live interviews here in the studio. I'll be asking people to come on to the show. We have some options now that I've figured out how to do remote interviewing. That's going to make things a lot easier in terms of scheduling and getting people on here so that we can. The idea is so we can build a community, we can grow, we can help each other. How can we help each other grow? That really is what it boils down to at the end of the day. We want to build a community of like-minded individuals. We want to build a community of, and again, like-minded means in this case that I'm using that, willing to learn from others, willing to absorb. We're not going to agree on everything. At times this is going to feel like a debate show, but we're going to be debating with our guests. We're going to be debating with people. We'll be debating with the audience in the comments section, things like that. But that's as long as it's healthy dialogue and it's not name calling and venomous and calling this group this and this group that. That's not the goal of this channel. I'm not here to try to. I know there are a lot of YouTubers that I've seen that basically I don't like the style. I don't like the style of basically shaming or calling people. And it gets you traction. Like it'll blow your channel up quick if you go out there and you just become this like kind of this overly just unapologetic person that's just kind of this is what's wrong with women, and women are this, and women are this, and women are this, or men are this, and men are that, and you just go at it and you share videos, you put TikTok videos of women who are admitting to the things, and it becomes to me, it's entertaining. It can be entertaining, but I don't think that it's productive long term. It can be entertaining and it can help you kind of parse out red flags in people. Like I said, especially if you're dating. I've already told guys, if you're dating a female, if she's a girlfriend, if she's on social media, chances are she's talking to 2 or 3 other guys all the time. Chances are all of them doing this? No. Are most of them doing this? Is the majority of them doing this? Yes. I've talked to young ladies who have a boyfriend, and however, they have 2 or 3 or 4, in some cases, other guys who they still see on certain occasions. One young lady I was talking to, she had a guy that he would fly her out regularly to his state where he lived. She had a boyfriend here locally. The boyfriend doesn't know that she has a guy over there. There's a lot of deception and a lot of things going on. And I just feel like people are, if they're going out here not knowing the current landscape, I think they're setting themselves up for failure. So we're not here to explode dreams or implode dreams, but we are here to kind of help people navigate the treachery of things like the modern dating market. But in addition to that, we'll touch a little bit on politics. Politics are going to come up because politics are part of everything now, I think, to a degree. Politics have become a very integral part. I mean, they've always been, but I think lately, like, it's become religious for a lot of people. It really has. Like, a lot of people are so tunnel vision on what their specific party or the candidate they like or whatever, and they're laser focused on just that. And if you say anything else outside of that, you're the worst person in the world to this person. They don't want to talk to you. They want to cancel you. They want to get your channel shut down. I mean, there's so many petty people out here that quite frankly just don't allow other people to live. Let people live. People will come to their own conclusions eventually, right? Of what they, what they believe, what they don't believe. Life will teach you over time. And eventually you'll look back and say, oh man, you know what? This guy was right, or that guy was right, or why didn't I listen to this person? So, politics we will touch about, but because we'll be covering current events on the channel as well, and current events are going to intertwine with politics. It's just going to be that way, right? So we will talk about that. We'll keep it healthy. We'll keep it a structured forum, a structured debate. We will, and hopefully we can all learn from each other and we can all grow together. That's the whole idea here on the channel. So, again, the channel is going to be accessible to everyone. For my comic nerds out there, my guys who dabble with, whether you dabble with sports cards, you're into collectibles, comics. I have a comic business that I also run on the side, or collectibles business that I run on the side. We're going to be covering pop culture stuff. We'll be covering comics. We'll be covering sports. We'll be covering all of those things here on the channel. So there may not be something for everyone every week, but there'll be something for someone every week with the topics that we're going to be discussing. So that pretty much wraps up my spiel. I'm just going to do a couple of tests with my board here to make sure that my sounds are coming through. Let's just check a couple of them here.
Excellent.
You guys can disregard this. This may come in a little distorted.
Amazing.
In the end, but we will get it figured out. There goes your boyfriend running out the door. Or your girlfriend running off to Vegas. But anyway, that's all for today, guys. Just want to record this demo reel. We are actually going to release this one to get some initial perception. This is not the final cut. Our future videos will look better, sound better, all those things. This is just a demo reel to get out to you what is coming down the pike. So thank you for listening, and we will talk to you later.